The people who were involved in preparing the Sikha for the Rebbe to be Magiya for the Likutei Sichos would sometimes ask the Rebbe a shayla in connection to the Sikha, and the Rebbe would answer, and that later turned into ha'ara of the Sikha. So I want to give an example of a ha'ara that came from an answer of the Rebbe, and that is in Parsha Vayikra, Chelik Yud Beis, the first Sikha of the Parsha Vayikra, ha'ara 48. There in the Sikha, the Rebbe talks about the Rashi at the beginning of the Parsha, where it says, Odom ki yakriv mikem, a man that will be makriv from amongst you. So Rashi says, why does it say the word Odom? To hint for Odom Arishan. And the Torah is trying to teach you that just like Odom Arishan, lei hikriv in agezel, Odom Arishan was not makriv a korban from gezel, something that he stole, shehakel hoya shaloi, because everything was his, af atem lei sakrivim in agezel. You also, we should not bring a korban from gezel. And the Rebbe in the Sikha later brings that the Rashi comes from a Tanchume and a Medrash Rabbah. In Medrash Rabbah, it says more or less like Rashi, that Odom Rishon didn't bring a korban from Gezel because everything was his. But in Tanchume, it says a little bit different. It says he didn't bring korban from Gezel because he was the only one in the world. Which means, according to Rashi and the Medrash Rabbah, he didn't bring Min Gezel because there was nothing he could steal, because everything was his. And according to the Tanchume, it's not because there was nothing he could steal, but because there was nobody he could steal from. But Rashi goes like the Medrash Rabbah, not like Tanchume. So a question was asked the Rebbe that l'chore, the Alter Rebbe in Shulchan Aruch doesn't seem to fit with Rashi, because the Alter Rebbe writes in Hilchas Hefker, Siv Beis, that the deserts and the oceans and the rivers and the forests and everything that's in them, hey mufkorim ve'emdim me'aleim. It's Hefker, because no one was ever machzik them. No one ever acquired them with the real chazaki al pitayra. He should be kainem in a hefker. Shahoyim ufkorim va'indim misheishes mebreishes. They were hefker from the beginning of the creation, and no one ever acquired them. But mele, they're still hefker. L'chura, the way Rashi says that Odom Rishon did acquire them, it was his. So how does the Alter Rebbe say it's hefker? And then was written to the Rebbe. Maybe this is what the Alter Rebbe means, that afterwards Odom Rishon had children, and then his children had children. So they were all Yorshim, all heirs of Odom Rishon. So they all inherited. So it became theirs, everybody's. And when it becomes everybody's, it's like Hefker. Because Hefker is the pshat that it belongs to everybody. So here also, it became Hefker. So when the Alter Rebbe says that it's Hefker, is because it became Hefker later. The Alter Rebbe says the Lashon that they were Hefker from Sheishes Mebreishes. They're Hefker from the beginning of creation. And according to this, it's not Hefker from creation. It became Odom Rishon, then it became Hefker. So it was written to the Rebbe, maybe that's what the Alter Rebbe means. They were Hefker from Sheishes Mebreishis. But he doesn't explain it, but what he means is, and then it became, he was Kainit, but then it became Hefker again, because they were all Yorshim, and B'meil it's Hefker now. Concerning this, that it was written to the Rebbe that maybe the pshat is that it was originally Hefker, but Odom Rishon was Kainit, and then it became Hefker again because they were all his Yorshim. The Rebbe crossed out the whole idea. And the Rebbe wrote, what you could say, maybe I have him in the Pshat in the Alter Rebbe is, and the Rebbe wrote this Lashon, Shachakach hochel ha'odom lorev al pnei ha'adomo, quoted Lashon of the Pasuk, that people started multiplying on the earth, but maybe it became a lot of people, ein loch yiush godel mizeh, there's no greater yish. So for sure, when Odom Rishon saw that so many people are there and they're going to take, so he was miyayish, and that's why he became hefker again. So that's a possibility of a havim in the pshat and the Alter Rebbe. Not that they yashin that b'meili became hefker again, but maybe it became hefker again because he was miyayish. He gave up hope because he knew there were so many people. And by the way, I just want to mention the Rebbe underlined the words al pnei ha'adomo, and when the Rebbe would underline the word, when it was printed, it became italics. L'peil, I don't know why in the print only the word Ho'adoma is underlined, is italics. But really the Rebbe underlined Al Pnei Ha'adoma. It's not a kvetch here because of the Adoma, it has a ground, but Al Pnei Ha'adoma means there are a lot of people in the world. But Meili is Mayayish. So there the Rebbe says maybe that's a possibility. But L'peil, the Rebbe says you can't say that pshat, because the Alter Rebbe says clearly, Mufkorim ve'emdim misheishes mebreishis. So you can't say that what he means is that originally it was Hefker from Sheishes and Mebreishis. Then Odom Rishon was Kainit. And then what happened now, it became Hefker again because he was Meyayish. You can't say that because the Alter Rebbe writes clearly the Lashon that it was Hefker, Shoyim of Korim, The Eimdim B'Sheishes Mebreishes. The Hefker from Sheishes Mebreishes means that when it's Hefker now, it's still Hefker from then. So you can't say this pshat. And therefore the Rebbe writes that you have to say that the Alter Rebbe takahos like the Tanchume. That the reason why we know for sure wasn't makir from Gezel, because he was the only one in the world. But not because everything was his. Not everything was his. Whatever he was machzik, whatever he was Kana was his, and whatever what he's not Kana was not his. And therefore the forest, etc., which it was not Kana, Taka, it remained Hefker, and that's why it's Hefker still now. And this whole Saklavataria, the way the Rebbe wrote it, now became the Ha'ara 48 in Likutei Sichos Chelik Yud Beis, page 80, Parshas Vayikra.